They stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious, and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration.
When Megyn Kelly set her sights on Barack Obama, she didn't just offer mild criticism. She went for a full teardown with surgical precision and a knack for exposing political theater. She stripped away the carefully polished image, piece by piece. His so-called legacy, reduced to a cautionary tale of missed chances, inflated ego, and media worship gone wrong. This wasn't some polite political disagreement. It was a wrecking ball smashing through myths, leaving behind only uncomfortable truths and a pile of broken talking points.
Was one presidential daily brief that was about to go to Obama in December of 2016 saying, the Russians, they didn't succeed in interfering in any meaningful way in our election. They did not hack voting machines, and it was going to downplay Russian interference. And then they stopped the presses. Obama interfered and said, hold on. And there was a memo saying, per the president's directive, and they're going in a new direction. Lo and behold, what happened next was we're going to do a new assessment and we're going to see what Russian interference was. Immediately, the media started reporting, it was huge. They interfered in everything.
Barack Obama's presidency felt like a TV show with a flashy pilot, smooth talking episodes, and a finale that had viewers wondering if the writers quit halfway through season 2. Megyn Kelly didn't have to dig deep. Obama's record came preloaded with enough plot twists, blunders, and awkward rewrites to fuel a roast tour for years. He sold himself as a cool, calm savior of American politics. But beneath the cinematic speeches and drone-shot glamour, it was less superhero origin story and more over-budget Netflix drama.
Andy and others are zeroing in on the notion that before they sat with Obama, they were going to tell him, no attempts to hack our election infrastructure. And Andy will later argue, them later coming out and saying, but lots of attempts to interfere in the election in general, and totally to help Donald Trump. He's saying that's...
If you're enjoying this, subscribe and hit the bell. Barack Obama came into office on a tidal wave of hope big enough to power California's grid for a decade. People expected a revolution. Instead, they got a masterclass in branding, heavy on slogans, light on delivery, like ordering gourmet steak and being handed a kale smoothie. Technically food, but not what you signed up for. Megyn would easily point out how the picture-perfect branding masked a presidency mired in the same old political sludge.
Miss if we do not do at least one clip from the Barack Michelle Obama appearance, the podcast, because everybody thinks they're getting a divorce, and let's face it, they probably are. She dragged him onto her show with brother Craig, and the following took place. Here's how it started in SOT 36.
Barack Obama, can you join us on
Come
our
on
set?
out here, brother.
Welcome
man.
to IMO. Look at you.
Take the Affordable Care Act, Obama's signature achievement. On paper, it was a warm hug of affordable health coverage. In practice, more like being hugged by someone who spills coffee on you and then asks for a tip. Millions struggled through glitch-filled websites, penalty threats, and rising premiums, while being told this was modern governance at its best. The rollout of Healthcare Gov was so bug-ridden it could have doubled as a live comedy show, except the punchline was taxpayer dollars disappearing into a digital black hole.
That day 10 years ago, what I think binds it together, all these different strands, case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections, of mourning. I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself and his glory.
Then came foreign policy. Obama cast himself as a reluctant warrior promising diplomacy over war. Yet somehow, drone strikes skyrocketed under his watch, turning parts of the Middle East into live-action video game maps. The administration boasted of precision strikes, but the reality often looked far messier, especially for civilians caught in the crossfire. Megyn Kelly would roast the irony. How a Nobel Peace Prize winner could oversee a military playbook with a higher body count than leaders he once criticized.
Other lie got pushed out there by Brennan at Obama's direction, and we're seeing what Brennan used to push the lie. One was Steele dossier, which this points out as it fell apart, and the guy went to him, CIA analyst, to say, it's fallen apart. We can't use this. He said, yes, but doesn't.
Syria, a geopolitical masterclass in hesitation. Obama drew a red line on chemical weapons, then let it fade, blur, and vanish. The message, America's word under his leadership, was flexible. Allies were confused, adversaries emboldened. Meanwhile, Russia waltzed into Crimea, and the response was sanctions so weak they felt like passive-aggressive greeting cards. At home, his economic record was a Rorschach test. Supporters saw slow recovery. Critics saw stagnant wages, soaring debt, and a Fed printing money like a monopoly marathon. The man who ran on unity and change ironically helped set the stage for America's most divisive political era.
Even the year having if the odds were you're going to be married to your partner for 50 years and 10 of those years could be bad, you'd
sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for
it.
Right.
And that's really how it works out.
Is it, Michelle? It's not. I've been married for 17 and a half years, and not one was bad. I think she and he married.
And the surveillance state? You'd think a constitutional lawyer would be cautious about expanding government spying. But under Obama, the NSA bulked up like it was on steroids. Edward Snowden's leaks revealed just how far the administration went in collecting Americans' data, all while selling it as for their own good. The same man who preached transparency ran one of the most secretive administrations in decades, hunting whistleblowers harder than some predecessors. Add to that his love of the spotlight, late-night TV, March Madness, viral videos, and Megyn Kelly could easily joke he was more comfortable at the correspondents' dinner than cutting bipartisan deals.
Additional point that he was determined to help Trump and get Trump elected was a political hit job that they then leaked to the media immediately, as you pointed out the other day, that before the homework assignment was even completed, in other words, Obama said, go back and change your report. They had leaked to the media what the conclusion of it would be. They had one goal and one goal only, which was to undermine Trump.
Even his biggest diplomatic wins had blind spots. The Iran nuclear deal was called a triumph, but critics saw it as a short-term patch that legitimized Tehran without fixing deeper issues. The Cuba thaw made great photos, but raised questions about what the U.S. actually got. Optics? Perfect. Substance? Debatable. Classic Obama. Brilliant with words. Struggling to bridge divides. And through it all, the media treated him like a political unicorn, shielded from the scrutiny others endured. Scandals like the IRS targeting VA hospital failures and Benghazi drew headlines, but rarely stuck to him the way they would have to a less media-savvy president.
Of Barack Obama, he decided to drop a post on X today, and I thought, okay, maybe in the wake of the Pete Hegseth presser, he's going to say something like, no matter how you feel about the Iranian strike, hats off to our, boys in blue, our guys in the bombers. He went a different way. This is what it was.
Curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the tensions that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad. Part of the reason I think I ended up having anything to say at that moment was when I heard some of the victims' families forgive the shooter. And I thought, all right, let's see if maybe this is a way.
His ability to dodge criticism was unmatched. Barack Obama could pivot from a tough question to a charming anecdote faster than most people could say. Change we can believe in. By the time he walked out of the White House, the gap between his soaring campaign promises and the messy realities of governing was impossible to ignore. The man who vowed to heal America left behind an even more fractured nation. Fans cherish the hope and historic symbolism. Critics remember the missed chances and glaring contradictions. The Obama presidency was a masterclass in branding. a tightly choreographed production that kept audiences hooked, even as the plot fell apart. And like any skilled performer, he took a final bow, confident the applause signaled triumph, even if half the crowd walked out wondering what they had just seen.
A meeting was held. It was called and held, including all of Obama's top people, all of them. And they had a big meeting on this, and the next day, things changed dramatically on the Russia narrative, and changed in a way that would support the Russia allegations that would go on to undermine the entire first term.
In the end, Barack Obama's legacy is a paradox. The man who inspired Americans to believe in sweeping change delivered cautious, incremental moves. The man who promised unity left behind deeper divisions. And the man who campaigned against endless wars quietly became one of their most consistent enablers. This is a legacy begging not for polite analysis, but for a roast, one that strips away the polish and lets the contradictions shine under spotlight. And clearly, the roast isn't over. His post-presidency is less about quiet dignity and more about perfecting the art of self-promotion disguised as public service. Every time he steps onto a stage, he carries himself like the next big policy breakthrough is moments away. In reality, it's just another pre-packaged narrative with dramatic pauses to keep his audience nodding.
Or fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team. What's it called? I can't remember the name. The Clippers, thank you. Game without her. And the LA Clippers. And then with Steve Ballmer, who's the owner, he's been on this show. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with his both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle, according to...
The public persona is so meticulously curated, it's lost any trace of authenticity. This isn't a statesman reflecting on the messy realities of leadership. It's a brand ambassador selling a lifestyle. Obama has mastered the influencer formula. A pinch of moral outrage, a dash of inspirational buzzwords, and the perfect photogenic backdrop. The end product? A career that feels less like statesmanship and more like a global lifestyle blog. Domestically, his landmark achievements are really a patchwork of compromises that please no one completely, yet were marketed as grand victories. It's the political equivalent of a heavily advertised fast food burger, mildly satisfying, gone in minutes. The real irony? He now criticizes government dysfunction like he wasn't one of the main actors in that play for 8 years.
On the record, they can pretend all they want that it's just tabloid fodder that has led people to think they're on the outs. That oh yes, he appeared without her, here or there, and people, no. Okay, first of all, she didn't go to the Trump inauguration. She didn't go to the Jimmy Carter funeral. He's been spotted out at basketball games and out to dinner with their daughters repeatedly without her. You'd be hard-pressed to find a recent picture of the two of them.
Barack Obama talks about division as though he were just a bystander, sidestepping the fact that his own leadership deepened ideological rifts. It's a clever act. Play the wise elder while acting like the mess has nothing to do with you. And the media, they drink it up like he's delivering prophecy from a mountaintop. His brand thrives on selective memory, encouraging supporters to remember the speeches, the cool charisma, the magazine covers, but not the disappointments. It's nostalgia wrapped in marketing, where every failure becomes a lesson and every shortcoming an unavoidable reality. In doing so, he's become untouchable to his base, a figure more myth than man. Even as history grows more complicated, strip away the glossy imagery, and you're left with a record full of half measures, safe bets, and a talent for staying just far enough from the fire to avoid getting burned.